The following is a paid program sponsored by Get Elevated. Please be advised that the voices and opinions you hear do not necessarily represent the views of KUNV Las Vegas, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, or the Board of Regents of the Nevada System of Higher Education.
Please note that while we will cover a multitude of topics, including many alleged health benefits, all information provided should be considered anecdotal and informational. Please consult with your physician before adding cannabis to your medical regimen. Cannabis is for adults 21 years of age and older. Also, paid sponsorships are not to be misconstrued as preferred or favored by the host. In any way, they are merely that, paid sponsorships. Good morning and happy Saturday, Nevada and beyond. Welcome back to another episode of Get Elevated with Chia. Hey, Peter.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Everyone, welcome back to another episode. So, for those of you joining the show for the first time, this is a show about cannabis. We're called Get Elevated with Gia. Why? Why is that, Peter? Because everyone on this show helps people get elevated through the use, knowledge, and wisdom of this plant. So, the goal of the show is global access, awareness, and education of cannabis. I want everyone to understand this plant, to try it. And we've been kind of rounding season 2 of this show, Peter. So, welcome to season 2. What does that mean? The first round of interviews were really clinically applicable, a lot of science 101, a lot of terpenes, a lot of cannabinoids and things like that. And then what happened is I think the community started really witnessing the show and people are like, I want to be on it. I want to be on it. I want to be on it. And then I started kind of what I think is rounding season 2. It's like dope people in cannabis. So we've had a lot of people, much like ourselves, who work in this community, who are like blood, sweat, and tears helping to build this Nevada market. So in the studio with me, I have Peter Kim, also known as PK.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I've been a dear friend of you for a couple of years. I still call you Peter, so I think I'm last to the party on the PK. So welcome, PK. And Peter and I are actually colleagues at Cureleaf. So we have the pleasure of working together. And Peter has such an interesting background and journey to cannabis. And I know that when we hear this story, it will help us all get elevated and learn more about the plant through your eyes as a curator of the products at the dispensaries. And so, Peter, welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah, finally, we made it. And of course, we got Ray. I know I always catch him off guard, and sometimes I forget to say you're here, but like you are always here. Otherwise, this would not be happening. So the topic of this show really is about dope people in cannabis. And one of the things, Peter, that when we have people like yourself, or we've had Derek from Planet 13, you know, we had Patrick from Flower One, is local leadership, because we are all leaders in this community, right? We are influencing the use of cannabis and seeing it through a different set of eyes, because we always talk about, like, you know, you've got some of the quote stoners, which, you know, we love and revere. They got us here. And then we have the corporate money that also got us here. And then somewhere in the middle are people like ourselves where, you know, I got a little bit of stoner in me and I got a little bit of corporate in me. And like, you know, that's where we land in the middle. So I want people to understand your story. For those people who are like, I want to work in cannabis. Everybody says they want to do that. So I'd love to hear your journey, not just into the working of cannabis, but how you started loving cannabis. So why don't we start with that? And then the topic is really about you, your experience, and how that can really shed some enlightenment onto people listening if they want to work in the industry, be in the industry, or they want to shop with you, or, you know, just know you better. How's that, Peter?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I think you hit a great point as far as there's not many people that are half culture, half suit, right?
Oh, I like that.
And that's a term that I use all the time, and it describes the people who kind of come from the grassroots part of the culture before the commercialization of cannabis. Right now, you know, currently I am working at Cureleaf. Honored to be working there with you, and I think, you know, you're a leader in the company. And
thank you.
Yeah. And
keep that going. I didn't know it was going to be about me, but I'm glad.
Yeah, no, but just to kind of start from there, like,
Yeah.
I mean, to get to this point where everything is getting a lot more corporate, you know, we're getting more and more legal, and more states are getting more legalized in every state. You know, talking about a little bit of my background, I think I got into cannabis in high school and college age. You know, I think everyone kind of goes through that.
Yeah, I didn't, but you know, I started at 40, but that's cool.
Yeah, I come from a traditional Korean family,
Okay.
first generation born in the United States. I did it more to be rebellious. You know, I was definitely passionate about the plant also, but trying to do something different and kind of like stand out. From there, I
Well,
went.
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I need to know the details.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay.
Were you?
We're gonna get in the middle of
15?
it.
I mean, I gotta
Yeah,
make it
right,
fun for the listener.
Yeah. All right.
I smoke cannabis, and I'm just gonna fast forward. No, we're gonna rewind.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, what was the move? You were just shuffling around in high school with your back. Don't make me tell a story. Don't make me make it up.
I think it helped with my anxiety during the time.
Oh, okay.
Also, there's the cool factor, the rebellious factor. You do look like a rebel when you smoke weed in high school
You look
and
cool,
you're young.
huh?
Yeah, you look
Okay,
cool.
okay.
I was a sneakerhead. I'm still a sneakerhead now.
Oh, you were sporting some J's.
Yes.
What were your
Jays.
favorites in high school? Do you remember?
I was in the Air Force One's tough.
Oh,
in
you
high
and Nelly,
school.
right? In my Air Force One.
That song was huge when I was in high school. It definitely influenced
Did you put a
lot of
Band-Aid
people.
over your cheek like
No,
that?
I wasn't doing any of that. Kind of look a little crazy if you're
got
Asian
you.
kid rocking a Band-Aid underneath your left eye and
I
all
think
that.
anybody rocking a Band-Aid under their left eye, except for left eye from perhaps,
TLC.
DLC. Maybe she could pull it off. But
Yeah, you got to be famous and coming from the
Understood.
music world or
Yeah, right.
music superstar to be doing that type of stuff.
I gotcha.
But no, just casually smoked on the weekends, and it helped with a lot of my anxiety, just more like mental health stuff, even physical health, pain. Like I played football, in high school too. From there, just it was trendy, but at the time, like. It was very, very illegal at that
Of course.
time.
Hey, because like there's illegal, there's very illegal, and then there's very, very illegal.
Yes, yeah,
I got
yeah.
it.
To
There's shades.
classify the levels and tiers of
Very,
illegal.
very,
right.
very. Okay, I got it. So that you were looking out for the feds the whole time.
No, I was looking out for the feds more like in college age. No, I'm just playing. But
I always say that the feds are watching. They really are. I think they're watching us right now.
oh man. But still went to Arizona State and
That's like, hold up. I didn't know that about you, PK.
yeah.
Isn't that like one of the biggest party, like 70,000 students, like the party school?
It is the party school.
Wow. Okay, tell me about your experience there. What was the GPA? 2.2?
Let's not talk about that. But
Say less. I got it.
Yeah, but definitely had a great time. Learned a lot of things there. From college, my experience with cannabis was, it was a great way to make friends. End of the day, like, you could be the guy that's, I play the guitar and you break the ice, right?
Yeah.
You're the partier, you're the frat person. But
Okay.
for me to connect with people, it was more through cannabis, sharing a joint, sharing a blunt.
Isn't that the beauty of cannabis is that it kind of forces people to share and commune. And then once you smoke it, you kind of all reach another level. And then you're not really thinking about who you are, who you're not. You're just there having a little smoke sesh.
The connection you have when sharing, some cannabis with someone, whether it's in college or even now or whatever, it's deeper, right? So,
Love that.
But the deeper connection you have with people, just sharing cannabis, I think sometimes you have just deep conversations, right?
Yeah.
Talking about your past or philosophical
Healing, right?
type. It's a lot of healing. It's very therapeutic, whether it's from the actual exercise or the action of smoking and consuming cannabis, or just connecting with someone and just having that
100%.
conversation, right?
I love that.
Now for a quick word from our sponsors. From the chief lobbyist of Matos Consulting, Jay is spearheading a new bill for consumption lounges. Jay is passionate about alternative places to consume cannabis so our city and the Strip can remain family-friendly.
Was there a time in the ASU days? I like how we just kind of fast forwarded through that because I didn't know you went to the biggest party school in the world. So
Why you gotta say it like that? Why?
because you just like skipped over it. I want fun stories. No, but my question is this: at one point, were you ever like, I'm smoking too much? Did you ever have to self-regulate and be like, what am I doing? Did you have discernment?
I think that's actually a really good question.
I know, right?
During
That's what I do.
my early 20s, that thought never crossed my mind. Like, I
not
don't
an
care if I
option.
was consuming or smoking a quarter a day, or let's just say a half ounce a day on a special day. Like, it just,
Special day.
Right.
What's a special day?
Right. That thought never crossed my mind. But going into the times of my mid 20s,
Yeah. Grown up stuff.
no, but still, I was still living that life. I was in the music industry. I was a creative director for a
Okay.
clothing line.
Let's go there.
Based out of Texas. I started my own concert promotional company around 23, 20,
Wait,
actually
what did you
24.
study, Peter? What was the?
Business administration.
Okay, so pretty generic. And okay, so let's get out of the ASU days. I can see. I'm going to bring us back to I want a really great story
Right.
So I want your.
I think the coolest stories would be more in my mid-20s,
Okay,
right?
let's
And
do
this is
it.
where more of my, the thought of me smoking too much comes
Okay, all
into
right.
mind,
Take
right?
us there. Take us there.
So, I toured with DJ Franzen. He's obviously the resident DJ at Dre's. I
Okay.
met a lot of great connections.
Why the music? What drove you there?
I saw a void or almost like a problem in business as far as entertainment in the Las Vegas industry at the time.
Okay.
Coming from Las Vegas and growing up in Las Vegas, I seen the entertainment get away from hip hop and urban music because of the 2006 NBA All-Star Weekend. During that time, there was a lot of shootings. People weren't playing hip hop music in the clubs. But one thing, the void that Vegas
What
had.
were they playing if they weren't playing hip hop?
Well, now, the fist pumping, EDM, EDC stuff, which I am not a personal fan of.
I can do like 2 songs for 10 minutes. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then it's all the same, literally all the same.
That's not my, preference. But during that time, there was also no entertainment for live music for people who were under 21. Right?
Oh, okay.
So I was able to analyze trends and kind of project which artists were going to be hot in 6 months. And, I started developing that gauge of turning a certain idea and engaging it to a monetary amount on like, it's going to bring this many people. This is how much I should charge for tickets. This is what's going to be a successful show. That artist is not ready. It's going to, in a year, be the right time.
Big deal, Peter. How did you acquire? I mean, just in your 20s, you were doing this. How you must have had a real ear for music.
I definitely had an ear for music. I had a passion for it. I was always the kid that was super cool. In the sense of
didn't lack confidence, huh?
I
was super cool. I got all the women. I added that part.
So in the sense, I was always ahead. Like the rapper or the R&B singer I liked, you're gonna like in a year from now, and you were late, and I was ahead. Right?
I love that.
Same thing with fashion, sneakers, clothing, and that's what the urban hip hop culture kind of breeds. It's always about who's next, right?
Right.
And I remember actually being in a Wiz Khalifa concert at the House of Blues at the Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
I think this was in 2011 or 2012. And I kept telling myself Wiz Khalifa is going to be the biggest rapper in the United States. And at the time, I was like, I don't know why I never booked this show, but I had no idea on how to do it, right?
Okay.
That's put me over the top on actually committing to booking my first concert.
Wow.
I had a couple investors. I invested my own money, the couple grand that I even had.
Sure.
First concert I threw was Dom Kennedy and Evidence. Evidence was from Dilated Peoples.
Okay. I don't know any of these words, but I trust.
Yeah. Dom Kennedy was a big rapper from LA at the time.
Okay.
And we pulled about 600-700 people. And from there, from my just betting on myself, I was able to consult for the Hard Rock Cafe and all the urban bookings from there.
1 second.
Yeah.
What you just said there is a real hashtag, betting on myself. More people need to bet on themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
We're always looking for someone else to validate or like, you got this. It's like, I'm betting on myself. I can totally do this. I love that, man. I love this confidence that you had in this early career because you could have been wrong and like laughed at and kicked out of the, like that's awesome, man. Okay. So go back to Wiz.
Yeah.
Or wherever, the Dom Perignon guy.
Yeah, no. Dom Kennedy. Shout out to Dom Kennedy,
I'm
right?
kidding.
OPM.
Dom Kennedy, I respect you. I'm sorry.
But from that moment, I definitely was betting on myself, but I don't want to paint the picture where I wasn't losing money. I wasn't taking a couple L's here or there. Through experiencing going and taking some of those L's, I built an even better gauge and intuition in the business.
You learn from your mistakes.
You learn from your mistakes. But going back, I think you hit a great point, and something that I brought up, but you're making an emphasis on is betting on yourself. A lot of times, people want to get advice or someone's take on something because they don't want to take ownership for their mistake.
Mm-hmm.
They want to blame that person. Oh, Gia said this was going to be a great project or a great concert, or this is going to be a great brand in cannabis to invest in. But now I could blame Gia.
Of course.
Right? It's okay to take feedback from other people, but you have to take it as almost like a qualitative analysis and then make the decision for yourself because no one else made that decision but yourself, right?
100% responsibility. Yeah. Win, lose, or draw, man. This is me.
Right.
That's what you did. That's awesome.
I was.
Oh, wait, let me also ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
PK. I'm going to call you PK. I've known you all this time.
Yeah,
I call
all
you
good.
Peter. I feel hip hop now, so I'm going to call you PK. But you got to call me G Money.
G Money. Okay.
That's it.
All right, G Money.
G Money. No, but like, okay, some Korean kid out of Las Vegas, like, bro, who are you to be booking Wiz Khalifa? Hey, yeah, can I speak to Wiz? Like, what? How did you get these people to call you back? Like,
Right.
I'm just like, please.
My dad, me and him talk, and he said, "Who taught you to throw concerts?" Like,
Oh,
I just taught myself. I just figured it out. Like,
self-taught, baby.
in this day and age, you can find anything on the internet.
100%.
You can learn anything on the internet. I was obviously a big risk taker at the time, but I wasn't scared of risk. And I think through networking throughout my whole life, whether it was going to a Magic convention, which was a big clothing convention at the time.
I've been to that once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
wow.
evolved into Agenda, being close with the Crooks and Castles clothing line, different brands that were just blowing up at the time that all
You just saw
connected
it. You saw
into
it.
music. Yeah. So if I didn't have a contact for Kendrick Lamar, well, I have a friend that works at Crooks and Castles.
What
that
is
has
Crooks
that,
and Castles? I'm sorry, I'm not
Crooks
that
and
hip.
Castles was a very big streetwear company
Okay.
based out of LA, made from Filipinos
Okay.
that grew up in the Long Beach area and was very, very successful. They had an offer from Jay-Z.
No way.
They wanted to be part of the Rockefeller clothing line portfolio, but
Okay.
they turned it down.
Wow.
They're still in Zoomies. They're still in a lot of stores.
Okay.
But that was the streetwear brand at the time. But I found, booking contacts through email, through friends and family.
You were
I didn't.
hustling, man. You knew people.
Yeah. I kind of knew people, or I made them feel like, or I put the perception out there, you should know me, right?
How do you do that?
Interesting is I went to the Tyson podcast about a few weeks ago,
Okay.
and
Oh, yeah,
this
yeah.
is kind of like the mentality I had as a young businessman, and this term really speaks to my mentality, right? And confidence breeds success, and success breeds confidence. And
Fake it till you make it.
I wouldn't say fake it. It is, because if you fake it, you're not putting your money where your mouth is, and you're
Okay.
not putting any actions towards
I
it,
see.
right?
Yeah.
There's a difference there. I think it's energy. It's just exuding that type of energy, and then having the willingness to learn
Back it up.
and critically problem solve. So
Okay.
it's about sitting with problems longer and not giving up on solving that problem. So whether it was
You're
finding
like that. That's who you are, Peter.
That is who
I
I
love
am.
that about you, man.
Yeah.
Like a dog on a bone.
Yeah. Give me a mission, give me
I
a
love
goal,
that.
and I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Like, there's not going to be any excuses coming that way. And that's kind of the mentality that you have to practice to, be resilient.
Sure.
Yeah.
Leaf Trade is a wholesale cannabis ordering platform available in 21 states. Leaf Trade retailers go online to shop from wholesalers via custom storefronts. Retailers may purchase cannabis, CBD, and ancillary products from one platform. More information is available at leaf.trade. That's leaf.trade.
So you were talking about Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, 2012 was my first official sold out concert. It was 1,200, but we sold out, I think, 2 days before.
Wow.
It was a big pivotal moment. And then after that, we booked the Dream Chasers 2 tour with Meek Mill, and that was at the House of Blues. That was close to sold out.
I like Meek Mill. I like some of that. Question: were you smoking a lot during this whole time, or there we
Yes.
go?
So during this time, I was still smoking daily. This is where
I
the
love to
thought
see
of,
that.
did
man.
I smoke too much? Did we just cross the line of just smoking too much? And that's where, when you're younger, I think growing up in the cannabis culture, overconsumption is accepted in the sense that I guess you're the cool guy. You got all the
Yeah, you smoke
good
the most.
stuff,
You're the,
yeah, all that, and and it's almost like a battle. Like, I remember being in the club with DJ Franzen or at a concert in LA or Hawaii, and we were already so high we couldn't get any higher. Like it's like, what's the point,
Right.
even smoking anymore? But it was part of that culture during
Sure.
that time, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays it's a lot different for me,
Of course.
but that thought did cross my mind a lot during
But did
my
you do anything
mid-20s.
about it? Or were you just like, note to self, I'll revisit this later?
Not until probably like my later 20s where I took a break, and it was a tolerance break.
Okay.
So I was one of those people that actually needed a tolerance break.
And to fast forward, then we'll go back. You don't consume a lot right now.
So I'm more of a social smoker. Also, if I'm stressed out, I'll smoke, but I'm not going to smoke just to do it.
Got it. Yeah, that's discernment. And that's really a great use of cannabis. So you don't need to. You want to. You choose it, Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so you had this business of building concerts with all these big names. Before we get on to the next step in the career, who was the coolest, like, this is such a cliche question, but I got to ask. Who was the coolest rapper that you hung out with? Smoked weed with?
Smoked weed
Or
with?
just hung out with? Or that you didn't?
I seen Redman take his first dab ever at the
Okay.
Pay Dues Festival. I
Okay.
think this was 2015.
That's a funny statement. I saw Redman do his first dab at the paid dues. What the?
Pay Dues Festival is
that
basically like
statement
the Rolling Loud
Okay.
of the 2000s, right?
Okay.
They booked Wu-Tang and a lot of those bigger
Okay.
acts during that time. And I remember DJ Friends and and during this time, dabs were not popular. Dabs were not commercialized. They were not
Yeah.
sold in dispensaries.
Okay.
If you were dabbing, you were ahead of your time. You probably
Oh.
weren't purging it right.
Okay.
You probably still had BHO and high PPM in that, but no
Ooh.
one even knew what PPM was during that time, right?
What is PPM?
It's just the level of solvent that's in concentrate. Yeah,
Pounds per. What's it PP? What does it stand
I
for?
don't remember
know.
exactly what it stands for, but I know what it means.
All right. Ray, you want to look up PPM? Okay, I got it. Oh, dear Ray. No, I'm
Parts per million.
parts per million.
Correct.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Parts per million for 500. Okay. So they didn't know what they were consuming, basically. They didn't know.
No, they didn't know.
There's no COAs coming down there.
No, there was no cannabis labs during this
No,
time at
no.
all.
That's scary.
And this was made from the Jet Fuel OG guys, where and till this day,
Dude, that stuff doesn't play.
it does not play.
I couldn't feel my legs one time with that jet fuel.
Where'd you try that at?
It was just flour in Chicago. And I remember I was like, let's try this. And I smoked a little bowl and I was like, dude, I can't feel my legs. I couldn't get off the couch.
That's the classic OG right there. It's a SFV OG lineage.
SFV stands for?
San Fernando Valley OG Kush.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's a Southern California strain. Obviously, it came from the Middle East. But that smell and taste is basically when people say, I want an OG, I want that skunky, loud stuff.
Yeah.
That's what they're referring to. They're referring to that SFV OG smell.
I didn't know that. You learned something new.
That's
cool.
the culture. That's
Yeah.
the culture
Thank
stuff,
you.
right?
Thank you. I am okay with not knowing things and learning. Okay. Yeah.
Oh man. But during this time, yeah, Ennis, who is the owner and CEO of Jet Fuel, this is basically during the gray market days.
Did you say gray?
Yeah, I would say gray.
Okay. There's black.
This-
What's
this-
the gray market?
Gray's like, there was a time
I
in
must not know
California.
anything. How am I surviving in this business working? I know nothing. I'm kidding.
Well, there was a time in California where obviously nothing was really on metric,
Right.
and they weren't even
Sliding
recreationally legal.
Right.
It was only medical. And we all know about California, like they didn't have the most formal regulations.
Right.
And so I refer to that as the gray market days because they were also selling to medical dispensaries during that time.
Okay.
But might have not been the most compliant.
Gray. Got it.
Let's just say.
It's a shade. Okay.
Yeah. But they had some shatter there. Redman came into the trailer. It was right after Wu-Tang got off the stage, and he took a dab, and I seen him just kind of laying on the ground, or not on the
God.
ground, sorry.
Straight to
I don't
the
want to paint
dome.
that picture,
I like
but
it.
on the couch, and his hand was over his forehead,
Oh.
and he wasn't talking to anyone. He didn't want to be around anyone at that time. But
you got a blast to the dome.
But I thought it was a cool, legendary moment because,
Did you take pictures? You were like, hey,
no,
is he all right?
I was not that guy. I used to be, one of those people that took pictures with celebrities all the time.
Like while he's passed out, like get a selfie in there, like, hey, man.
No, I'm definitely not that guy.
All right.
Yeah, but that's probably my coolest smoke story with a celebrity that off the top of my head. But
yeah, that must have been a dope life.
it was an amazing life. I like to say that I'm more of a retired stoner. And in my 20s, because of the industry I was in, I was somewhat semi-retired. So I did have an amazing 20s. It was a great time.
Oh, so we made some bank in our 20s, huh, Peter?
No, I was doing all right. I was doing okay.
You just said retired, so I mean, I don't know.
I had the freedom to do.
Do you still have the money?
No.
Do you still have the money, or are you like a classic?
I don't know about that.
I got them
G-Money.
Gucci slides, but I ain't got no money.
No, right. And when you're young, you spend
totally, man.
overspend on a lot of things
because you can make more. That's the theory.
I'm a lot older now. We're definitely more
understand.
reserved with the spending at this moment.
Okay, that's
I'm
fair.
trying to pay for a wedding right now, right?
Oh, we gonna get into that. We gonna get into that, Peter. All right. Okay. So then, why did you phase out?
I still do consulting for the Brooklyn Bowl, the Hard Rock Cafe, and Dre's opened up. And they kind of took my business model. Everyone else was doing EDM. No one was doing the hip hop. And as far as all the major hip hop acts, they turned it all into a nightclub format and did 21 and up. But during that time, this is where I had to like reinvent my business model. And when people didn't want to touch it, I just knew it was the right time. I call it the swag rap. Or the perfect term is the mumble rappers.
Yeah,
and so
I know those. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
can't stand it.
So that's
just what? No. But go ahead.
No, so
that's my version.
No, during this time, this is where I learned a very good business lesson. Where it's not about what you like; it's what the market wants.
100%,
right?
Yeah.
So the numbers were there. This is where I got my first data analytics experience, where the numbers were saying that these artists are going to pull, they're going to sell 1,000 capacity venues, 2,000 capacity, 3,000, but everyone was getting their personal taste in the way of booking these artists. So that's when I pivoted to Lil Yachty. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do. I actually like his sound. He's got like it's
Cold in Minnesota.
Kind of
very simple, kind of kiddish. Yeah. I booked him at the Joint. That was a 5,000 cap room, which is at the formerly known as the Hard Rock Resort. But the biggest booking was Lil Uzi Vert.
Give me a song on that. Wait, they really see. I think my son was like a junior in high school. What's that one song? Lil Uzi Vert. I'm gonna look it up.
Now I Do What I Want, or
I'm gonna look it up while he's talking.
Yeah, I'm not good with like song title names.
You're gonna be good with rapping here in a second.
Yeah, Lil Uzi Vert though. Right now, I would say as far as the mumble rap era is the biggest rapper out of that era, right? And so I booked him in 2016.
Okay.
And that was about 1,500 tickets sold in Phoenix. And this is when we went out to Phoenix. No one thought that he was going to do those type of numbers.
Right.
But I knew just seeing the trajectory that Kendrick was on and some of the other prior bookings that he was on that same trajectory. And from there, he went from a 15K artist in July of 2016 and then went to 40K in November, just a few months later. And we booked him at the Brooklyn Bowl. It was 2,800 people sold out. And from there, we did a few shows here or there, and it got expensive. And then we had to compete with Dre's during that time. And the amount of bookings that we were able to do as far as upcoming artists was very limited.
So you got drowned out, and it was like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
well, I'm gonna pack my bags and go.
Yeah, but we still did marketing promotions. Okay. We pivoted to more of the guaranteed money. We consulted for a lot of the venues on their bookings. So we still stayed afloat and still made the money that we needed to, but it wasn't as we were doing the full production and all that stuff. So
I gotcha. So Peter, we actually are wrapping up our first episode because I'm fascinated with all that. This is a part of you I didn't really get to know because we just talk weed all the time,
right?
And leadership. But so if you don't mind coming back I'd like to do a second episode where we kind of talk about your cannabis career. And then I want the readers to understand what it's like to run in the retail landscape right now a little bit, how you got into it and sort of like your vision and some fun stuff we'll talk about. I want to know more about this engagement and all your beautiful life that you're planning. So any parting words on episode 1, Peter?
No, I'm just happy to come
Are you
back.
having fun?
And yeah, I'm having a great time.
Yeah. Okay. So for everyone listening, thank you. This was quick. This is Dope People in Cannabis. We had Peter Kim. He is the curator of product at Curaleaf, and he'll talk more about that. So Peter, thank you. Great message. I love this journey. All right, dear friends, as I always like to say, welcome to the future of cannabis. My name is Gia. I'll be your tour guide.
You have been listening to a paid program sponsored by Get Elevated. Please be advised that the voices and opinions you heard do not necessarily represent the views of KUNV Las Vegas, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, or the Board of Regents of the Nevada System of Higher Education.